Welcome back to the UFC Predictions Tracker channel. In this video we will break down all the picks that have been made so far for UFC 311 Islam Makhachev vs Arman Tsarukyan 2. On this card there will be a total of 14 fights, and we start with the first fight of the night on the early prelims, which is a fight in the flyweight division between Tagir Ulanbekov from Russia, who's 33 years old, and Clayton Carpenter from the United States, who's 28 years old. Tagir Ulanbekov is the favorite with minus 325 in average odds, and his opponent Clayton Carpenter the underdog with plus 245. Tagir is also the big favorite in picks from the Tapology community. 80% predict him to win and only 20% predict that Clayton Carpenter wins. And most of them predict that this fight will go to the decision. And we see the same result with the UFC Prediction Channels on YouTube. 61 out of 74 channels or 82% predict Tagir to win, and only 13 channels or 18% pick Clayton to win. The best prediction channels of 2024 with a minimum return on investment of 5% also predict that Tagir wins this fight. 7 out of 9 predict him to win and 2 out of 9 are picking Clayton. The names that are highlighted in green are the best prediction channels of 2024. The light green ones had a return on investment between 5% and 9.9%, and the dark green ones of 10% or higher. For more information and results of 2024, check out the end of year results video. A link can be found in the video description, on screen now, or at the end of this video. The next fight is in the bantamweight division between Turcios from the United States, who's 31 years old, and Benardo Sopaj, the 34-year-old from Sweden. Benardo is the favorite with minus 300 in average odds, and Ricky the underdog with plus 230. And the Tapology community agree with the odds makers. 82% of them predict that Benardo wins this fight, and only 18% are picking Turcios to win. And most think this fight will go to a decision. The YouTube prediction channels favor Benardo even more. 65 out of 71 channels or 92% predict him to win, and only 6 channels predict that Ricky wins, or 8%. And 7 out of 8 of the best predictors pick Benardo, and only 1 predicts that Ricky wins. The next one is in the bantamweight division between Rinya Nakamura, who is 29 years old and from Japan, versus Muin Gafarov, who is from Tajikistan and is 28 years old. Rinya is the big favorite with minus 520 in average odds, and Muin the underdog with plus 380. 92% of the Tapology community pick Rinya to win, and only 8% are picking Muin to win. And also for this fight, most predict that this fight will go to the decision. And Rinya is even a bigger favorite in picks by the UFC Prediction Channels. 69 channels out of 73 or 95% pick him to win, and only 4 channels have picked Muin to win. And all 9 of the best prediction channels have picked Rinya Nakamura to win. Up next, we have a fight in the women's bantamweight division between the Brazilian Karol Rosa, who's 30 years old, and Ailin Perez from Argentina, who's also 30 years old. Karol is a pretty big favorite with minus 265, and Ailin the underdog with plus 205. When we look at the picks from the Tapology community, they disagree with the odds makers. 72% of them are predicting that Ailin wins this fight, and only 28% predict that Karol wins. When I saw the picks of the UFC YouTube channels, I had to double check if I didn't make a mistake with the odds here. But they were correct, and also Ailin is the favorite here in picks. 46 out of 75 channels predict her to win for 61%, and 29 channels predict that Karol Rosa wins for 39%. And also the best predictors favor Ailin. 6 out of 9 picked her to win, and 3 out of 9 predict that Karol wins. So, who do you think is correct? The odds makers or the prediction channels? Let us know in the comments below. The next fight is in the lightweight division between Dawson, the 30-year-old from the United States, and Diego Ferreira from Brazil, who's 40 years old. And Dawson is a pretty big favorite with minus 270, and Ferreira the underdog with plus 210. Dawson is also the favorite in picks by the Tapology community. 80% predict him to win, and only 20% have picked Diego to win. Most expect this fight to go to the end, but if Ferreira wins, most think he will win via KO or TKO. And Dawson is also a big favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. 59 out of 74 or 80% pick him to win, and only 15 channels out of 74 pick Diego to win for 20%. All of the best predictors also think that Grant Dawson wins this fight. The next one is in the middleweight division between Zach Reese from the United States, who's 30 years old, and Azamat Bekoev, the 29-year-old Russian. Azamat is the favorite with minus 215 and Zach Reese the underdog with plus 175. Although Bekoev is the favorite, he's only getting 52% of the picks from the Tapology community and 48% pick Reese to win, making this fight the closest in picks by the Tapology community. However, most of the YouTube prediction channels disagree with the Oddsmakers and the Tapology community, and most of them are picking Zach Reese to win. 35 out of 50 channels or 70% pick Zach Reese, and 15 channels or 30% predict Azamat wins, and 6 out of 6 of the best predictors also pick Zach Reese to win. The next fight is in the heavyweight division between Jailton Almeida from Brazil, who's 33 years old, and Sergey Spivak from Moldova, who is 29 years old. And Jailton is the big favorite here with minus 470 in average odds, and Sergey the underdog with plus 345. 90% of the Tapology community predict Jailton Almeida to win this fight, and only 10% predict that Sergey wins. Most of them think this fight will end in a submission. Jailton is also a huge favorite in picks by the YouTube prediction channels. 71 out of 73 channels or 97% predict him to win, and only 2 channels predict that Sergey wins, which are Glenbot and Kunat. And of the best predictors, they all think Jailton Almeida wins. For the next fight, we go to the bantamweight division with Peyton Talbot, the 26-year-old from the United States, taking on Raoni Barcelos from Brazil, who's 37 years old, so 11 years older. Peyton Talbot is again the biggest favorite of the card, just like he was in his previous fight, with minus 1200 in average odds, and Barcelos the underdog with plus 705. Talbot is also the biggest favorite in picks by the Tapology community on this card, and 98% predict that he will win, mostly by KO or TKO. And all of the UFC prediction channels on YouTube picked him to win as well, for 73 out of 73. The next fight is in a light heavyweight division between Bogdan Kuskov from Uzbekistan, who's 32 years old, and Billy Elakana, the 29-year-old from the United States. Bogdan is a pretty big favorite with minus 330 in average odds, and Billy a plus 250 underdog. Kuskov is a huge favorite in picks by the Tapology community with 96% of the picks, and 4% is for Billy. Most thinking this fight will end in a KO-TKO. And 60 out of 62 channels or 97% also pick Bogdan to win. And only 2 channels picked Billy to win, which are John Kelly DFS and the MMA Fortune Teller. And of the best predictors, 7 pick Bogdan and 1 is picking Billy. For the opener of the main card, we have a fight in the middleweight division between Kevin Holland, who's 32 years old from the United States, and Reinier de Ridder from the Netherlands and is 34 years old. And this fight is the closest in average odds, with minus 113 for Reinier and minus 108 for Kevin. So basically even in odds. Reinier is a small favorite in picks by the Tapology community, with 53% predicting him to win, and most think by submission. 47% are predicting that Kevin Holland wins, and most think via KO-TKO. But the prediction channels on YouTube favor Reinier de Ridder a bit more. 45 out of 75 channels or 60% predict that he will win, and 30 out of 75 channels or 40% predict that Kevin wins. And 5 out of 8 of the best prediction channels in 2024 pick Reinier to win, and 3 out of 8 pick Kevin to win. So yeah, overall a really close matchup in odds and picks. Who is your pick for this fight, Kevin or Reinier? Let us know in the comments. The second fight of the main card is between Beneil Dariush, the 35-year-old from Assyria, and Renato Moni Moicano from Brazil, who's also 35 years old. Moicano is the slight favorite with minus 170, and Dariush the underdog with plus 140. But Moicano is a big favorite in picks by the Tapology community. 79% predict that he will win either by KO, TKO or a decision, and 21% predict that Dariush wins by decision. In picks by the prediction channels on YouTube, Moicano is still the favorite, although a bit less than in picks by the Tapology community. 49 out of 78 channels pick him to win, or 63%, and 29 out of 78 pick Dariush to win, or 37%. But when we look at the best predictors of 2024, Dariush is the slight favorite, with 5 out of 9 picks and 4 out of 9 for Renato Moicano. For the next fight, we go to the light heavyweight division between Jiří Procházka from the Czech Republic, who's 32 years old, and Jamal Hill from the United States, who's 33 years old. And this fight is really close in odds, with Jamal Hill being the slight favorite with minus 130 and Jiří Procházka with plus 105. Jiří Procházka is the favorite in picks by the Tapology community with 66%, and 34% predict that Hill wins. But they all agree that this fight will end in a KO/TKO. When we look at picks from the YouTube prediction channels, Jamal Hill is the slight favorite with 42 out of 79 or 53% of the picks for him. And 37 out of 79 or 47% pick Jiří Procházka to win. Although Hill is a slight favorite in picks overall by the YouTube prediction channels, Jiří Procházka is a slight favorite in picks by the best predictors. 6 out of 10 pick him to win and 4 out of 10 pick Jamal Hill to win. So overall, this is also a very close fight, just like the fight between Kevin Holland and Reinier de Ridder. For the co-main event, we have a title fight in the bantamweight division between Merab Dvalishvili from Georgia, who's 34 years old, and the challenger Umar Nurmagomedov from Russia, who's 29 years old. And Umar Nurmagomedov, as the challenger, is the favorite with minus 315 in average odds, and Merab with plus 240 the underdog. 67% of the Tapology community predict that Nurmagomedov wins, and mostly via a decision. 33% pick Dvalishvili, also by decision. And in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Umar Nurmagomedov is even a bigger favorite. 59 out of 78 channels, or 76%, pick him to win. And 19 channels, or 24%, pick Merab Dvalishvili. But of the best prediction channels over 2024 that have made predictions so far, all 9 of them pick Umar Nurmagomedov to win. For the last fight of the night, we have the main event for the light heavyweight championship of the world between the 33-year-old Islam Makhachev from Russia and the 28-year-old Arman Tsarukyan from Armenia. Islam Makhachev is the big favorite with minus 375 and Arman Tsarukyan the underdog with plus 280. In picks by the Tapology community, Makhachev is a big favorite and 85% predict that he will win. And 50% predict that Tsarukyan wins. And most of them think this fight will go to a decision. Also in picks by the YouTube prediction channels, Islam Makhachev is a big favorite. 64 out of 78 channels, or 82%, pick him to win. And 14 out of 78 or 18% pick Arman to win. 6 out of 9 of the best predictors of 2024 pick Islam to win, and 3 out of them pick Arman to win. Hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful and informative. If you did, then don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel and get some extra perks like daily updates on the latest UFC picks and average odds, and also a quick cheat sheet with a list of the best and worst predictors overall for underdogs only and favorites only, then consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. A link can be found in the description. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a great weekend and enjoy the fights for UFC 311. And I'll see you in the next video.